Philippines, and I'm with
Eric
Eric
Burton.
from
Yep.
Incheon.
Yep.
And welcome. Okay. Hi, I'm Guy Garcia from the Philippines. Okay, so welcome to another session of Thursday night. So for tonight's topic, we'll be discussing about integrating coding in the entire curriculum. So basically, we'll have an exchange of ideas of how can we start, the benefits of it, or is it really possible to have coding for the entire curriculum. So let me share some thoughts about coding because I am an ICT teacher and I teach from grade 6 up to college. I have several levels assigned every year. And I also have a play school wherein I handle preschools from 2 to 4 years old. So I try to experiment with my students and see how can I use technology. But when it comes to coding, I started with grade 6,
Mhm.
and it depends on how we introduce coding to kids. Unlike before, when you say programming or coding, it means you're too technical. You deal with a technical concept, you start with a technical concept, and then you share how to create, you start with the flowchart and all the technical things. But this time, there are a lot of resources we can use that we can introduce coding in an easy manner, way easier than before, and in a not so scary way, I may say, wherein you can use games to
Mhm.
introduce coding to kids. So that is basically my experience, but I will not elaborate on it. Maybe later I can show some. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
maybe I can
curious.
say code.org is one
Mhm.
one resource that I have used to code.org is one resource. It's a collaboration of Microsoft, Google, uh, Twitter, and everyone in the technology, and
Hmm.
even basketball players, musicians make use of collaborated with each other to introduce or encourage schools
Mhm.
to teach coding in schools. Basically, have you heard of
Hmm.
it, Eric,
Yeah, I've heard of
about code.org?
code.org. Yeah, I haven't looked at it. I just know it's among the ones that are offered. And does it cost or is it free? What's the situation with that?
Well, basically, it's free.
Okay.
It's free and it's engaging. It is similar to Scratch by Google.
Hmm.
So they have the same or similar interface.
Okay. I'm curious about.
So that's one that I use, and my experience with that with my grade 6, because I have 1 hour. Go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah. So I swear there's like a 5 second delay, so I can count to five and then you hear what I said. So, um, yeah, I'm curious about
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the different offerings about learning code online and how one. I mean, is there any that's really significantly different? What makes you choose code.org over others to mention? Is it easier? I think you said it has some more appeal for kids, like that in particular, or is it just that they're more that all of them are more accessible now? I'm not sure.
Okay. The reason why I choose, well, I don't know how I've discovered code.org,
Hmm.
but every December we celebrate Computer Science Week, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think I had it somewhere. It was part of the promotion wherein
Hmm.
you may join code.org during the Computer Science Week. And then I tried to communicate with them. And when I browsed the website,
Hmm.
it is engaging because they make use of with the cartoons, the cartoon characters,
Okay.
the movies like
Mm.
R2D2, Star Wars, uh, Frozen. So since
Hmm.
my students are all girls,
Yeah.
I make use of Frozen, and
Mhm.
for that 1 hour, they find it engaging. They hate me
Yeah.
because I'm too
Hmm.
technical. But
Uh-huh.
when I introduce coding, when I told them that I'll start with coding, so let's play a game first. So that was my motivation. It was a game,
Hmm.
but they didn't realize that they are already coding.
Gotcha.
And then when it's about 10 minutes before time, so I told them, okay, you have to wrap up now. You have to uh, s- you have to log out now. We only have a few minutes left.
Hmm.
And someone shouted, "Sir, I hate you." I got shocked because, huh? Uh, why? So I asked why. Because I cannot stop. I have to finish this.
Wow.
So that was my experience when I introduced coding to my kids. They like
Nice.
it basically, and they cannot stop because it's
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if they find it addicting.
That sounds really
So
cool.
that was my experience. So we can introduce coding now, programming with yeah. We can introduce coding to kids because I heard something. I read something wherein it state that it's from learningresources.com.
Hmm.
It states that coding is another language. It stated there that language teaches children how to communicate and teaches logical thinking.
Yeah.
Language also strengthens both verbal and written skills. So children should be exposed to different languages at an early age. So it helps them to understand the world around them better. So coding has a language of its own. Every little alphabet has a special formula, zeros and ones that represent it. So these zeros and ones give the technology around us direction on how to perform. What better way we can for our children to understand why and how the technology around them operates than by learning to code and speaking the technology around them.
So I'm
So
curious,
that I think it's one good reason why we have to teach coding to
do you have a preference for, I mean, I know the principles are generally the same in any programming language, but do you have a preference for which language I mean, you would expose kids to initially, or does code.org have a specific one that they stick with to start with?
um with that one I'm okay, let me give you a
Hmm.
background about
Sure.
my I'm not really a teacher, but I just
Hmm.
took units. I'm really a manager. I'm more of a
Hmm.
management graduate.
Yeah.
So I have this subject when I was in college. It's called Turbo Basic. So it's the old
Super.
way
Yeah.
of
Old.
programming.
Yep.
So I got interested, and then and yeah, it's super old. It doesn't
Mm.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
And then I had a book in my previous school, JavaScript.
Hmm.
So JavaScript is a language for web design and web development. So that one I focused on. So
Hmm.
JavaScript, I find it easy, and
Yep.
others find it so hard to understand. But when when I started JavaScript, it's so interesting. It's easy to
Hmm.
understand. It will become complicated if you deal with different apps. Let's say with
Hmm.
Cheese Whiz, you have to know, let's say, document or spreadsheet, and you want to control each cell. That will be a bit complicated. But for an introduction, I find it easy to use. But there are other programming languages. Others they told me, why don't you use Python? Why don't you use C++, plus plus, which is so I told well, my impression with C++ plus plus is a bit old, but it's basically the foundation of programming.
Hmm.
But in my case, in my opinion, it's just they are just the same. What you need to know is how to use each command.
Hmm.
So that's if you are asking which one do I prefer,
Hmm. Yeah.
I go for JavaScript because
It's very
that's the only
useful.
thing I focus on as of now. But I'm interested to yeah because of web, right?
Yeah.
Because of the web.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'm curious in your classroom Zoom. So
Mhm.
What? So what did you use for that, or what?
Actually, yeah. So I used to do mainframe programming, and so I never really I can look at JavaScript and have a sense of what's going on, but I've never really
Oh
learned it.
wow.
But I should. It'd be really handy because Classwork Zoom is written in JavaScript primarily. So yeah, I'm looking forward to picking that up
Mm,
sometime as I
yeah.
move more into the ed tech direction, and can devote more resources, more time to that instead of to my lessons, which right
Oh,
now I have to focus on more. Yeah, definitely want to learn more JavaScript.
okay. So I have some questions. Well, these were the questions
Hmm.
posted to me by my former school where when I introduced coding to kids because the administration told me that it's too complicated for kids to learn. So I told them no because basically what we need to do is to look at the connection of programming in real life. So I told them, well, we can use programming because we want to teach kids how to be patient,
Hmm.
how to be disciplined, how to be in order,
Yeah.
how to be critical thinkers, basically.
Hmm.
So I think it's a good way to instill values, this discipline to kids when we teach programming.
Yeah, and
But they
also,
still don't believe me.
yeah,
So I told
I'm.
them, okay,
I mean,
yeah, go
also,
ahead.
kids. If you want to get kids started, just get them exposed to some very very simple programs. I mean, the joy of having made something happen can be transmitted very easily, can be generated very easily with very simple programs. I remember when I was a kid. Then, well, I'm pretty old, and so uh, my dad was at this university in North Carolina, and some dusty old computer. It wasn't in a basement that we just made some program to print out a pattern, a symmetrical pattern on a dot matrix printer, and we thought that was really great. This is my brother and I. We thought that was really great,
Mhm.
and then he got us a computer, and but it's this is again so old. We would use cassette tapes and record our program on cassette tapes that were hooked up to the it was a VIC 20, I think, and we learned the super basic, literally basic code, go to line whatever and print this whatever, but then we would buy Compute magazine
Yeah,
and print and the copy from the magazine 20 pages of code, just copy, just character by character, and then see if it worked. And because we did it technically, because we copied it and put it into the computer, that was so satisfying. And what that
yeah.
did wasn't just teach me what the specific commands, which I did get the hang of a lot of commands as a result. It also I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid, and that's just a massive, massive contribution to computing is to get kids over the whole idea that I can't make things happen. If they can make things happen, then they're not going to be afraid to explore and to try.
Yeah, yeah, I remember also those kind of things that we're in. You have to copy everything and type everything in the computer. Try to type everything in the computer. By the way, I'd like to say hi to Ruth. Ruth,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in. If you have a question, if anyone has a question, just put it in the comments box. Okay. Anyway, so there are challenges when okay. So I mentioned earlier one of the challenges when I was uh, trying to introduce coding to my school. But do you have okay? Another challenge is that not all not all administrators are willing to do it. That's one. Second is I thought before that uh, programming or coding is for guys, but
Oh yeah.
when I introduced it to my kids, which is it's an exclusive school for girls, it
Okay.
was more it was more I find it I find girls code better than guys.
That's
I don't
nice.
know if you believe
Cool.
that,
Yeah.
but I find it more fulfilling to teach girls
Hmm. I know. I just think it's
to
great to
teach
get girls
guys. But
involved since there's an
I think
imbalance.
it's not, it's because they say that because they said that coding is the world of men, but I
Mm,
don't believe that because girls can code. They
yeah,
can.
absolutely. Yeah, when I was a mainframe programmer,
And
I'd say
just to share, I
I guess I'll continue. When I was a mainframe programmer,
go
about
ahead.
half of the office was women. Um, the boss originally was a man, but then when he retired, then two women were running the office, and there was, I mean, I learned from everybody. There wasn't really nobody there thought it was a men's industry, but I know that idea really exists, and I still really appreciate anything that gets girls involved.
Yeah. I'd like to share another one that proves that girls can really code. I know JavaScript. I know other older programming language like COBOL, like Foxbase, FoxPro,
Mm,
Visual Basic. I know
mm-hmm.
them,
Yep.
but now it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Now we have Apple devices, iOS and Android.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, since the school is an Apple school, somebody from Apple asked me, "Do you want to learn how to code in iOS?"
Okay.
I said yes. Okay, I'll be sending someone to teach you how to teach your kids, my students.
That's so
She's
cool.
referring to my students. So okay, sure. So I met this, yeah. So I met this person. I forgot her name, but her undergrad, she's a nursing by profession, and she loves coding. When she found out how to build a program in iOS, she did not pursue her profession in nursing.
Wow. Wow.
She
That's
just
some
make
dedication.
codes, and now she's a
Yeah.
consultant for.
That's cool.
Yes. So it only means that coding can be learned by anyone. You don't have to be in school to learn coding, but it's good to teach coding to younger kids. That is why we're having this topic wherein we can integrate coding in in any subject in our school. So that's another proof that coding is not only for guys but also for girls. So and there's a big demand in the future of for programmers, right? I don't know if you've heard of it, Eric. What
Yeah.
can you say about it? The demand and the skills, right?
Yeah. I mean, everything is moving in the direction of being automated. And so, in that case, you're going to need to have people to help to do that. To code, everything can be coded now. Everything's getting smarter. And so, you need people to do that. Of course, at some point, we're going to code ourselves out of a job. But in the meantime, that's there's a lot of need for that. And it can only grow at the moment.
Yes, yes. And I think it will be part later on of a. It will be a
How do
qualification
you?
later on for someone to. Okay, I think we have someone here. I think we have we. It will be part of the qualification of a person when they get employed, or part of the qualification will be they should learn the skills of coding. So instead of hiring someone to create a program for you, welcome
Yeah.
Soti. Hi.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
So I
Yeah.
was
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm
hello.
a bit late. Sorry
Yes,
about that. Let's see, you're
no
19
problem.
minutes in.
I was just
19
saying
minutes
that
in.
yes. So I was just saying that it will be later on a qualification of someone to be employed if it will be an advantage if you know how to code.
Yeah.
What can you
Oh,
say
yeah,
about that,
absolutely.
Seti?
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree 100%. I think coding, it's I can't remember where I saw this, where someone said coding is the real magic now. Um, like so often, and again, Eric will he'll agree to this, because you'll see something and you want to fix a problem, or you have something that you can't do and you want to
Yep.
fix that.
Yep.
The only way that you can now get that done very often involves coding or these new skills. And the nice thing about it is it's an equalizer. So all you really need is access to an internet connection, and you can start coding. You don't have to go to on expensive courses. You don't have to. Computational thinking is something we can start at schools very early on, and then once you've got sort of those basic understanding, basic understanding of how code works, there's so many resources out there that in self-study, if you really want, you can. And if you've got the time and the commitment to do so. So it's a great equalizer for those that might not have the same opportunities as others. If they have the motivation, then I think it's an amazing skill to have. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. And I think every single student should at least have exposure to it.
So Sethi, what?
We have a comment.
Oh yeah. Okay, I didn't see the comment. Gary's on a bit of
Go
a
ahead.
delay.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Sethi, I'm curious. What kind of, when did you first get exposure to coding yourself?
That would have been, I think, age 14. I had a very, very just a great teacher. He was my maths teacher, and he had this interest in anything technology and coding, and so he saw that I had a similar interest, and so he was able to then convince the current school management to introduce some coding lessons. So when I was about 14, he introduced Pascal, which was, I mean, it's a long time ago now. So then he introduced us to Pascal. And then obviously we wanted something a bit more visually appealing. So then we had some Visual Basic. I don't know if you remember Visual Basic days. So that, to me, that was the first time where I sort of made that click as to I've created something, because Pascal is all great and it's good to sort of get used to like certain concepts and things. But then once I made something in Visual Basic and I was able to press a button and see something happen once that button was pressed, that made all the difference. I think because then it felt to me as like this young kid, 14 years old, I made a program. I just wrote a computer program. I mean, it was a very simple interface and it wasn't really, anything special. But in my mind, I'd made a program. And then from there, we sort of moved on to HTML and CSS.
Gotcha.
We started, playing around with a bit of JavaScript. And so it just gradually, it's always sort of been there. I'm not a coder. Like I would never say that I'm a coder, but I've always had an interest in it. My skill is copy pasting. Like that's my skill.
Well, that's a lot of it.
Yeah, and so I would never say that I'm a programmer. I'm not. But I think because of what I learned back then and sort of the journey I was on, I think I know enough to find the pieces I need and sort of stitch them all together into something that works. I'm not going to say that it looks good. I mean, a programmer will probably look at the things that I make and they'll go, "Whoa, this is messy code." But if it gets the job done, I think, it's like, it's not my, I don't want to be a coder. I think it's a basic skill that we should all be experienced to.
Yeah, I think we learn things when something's in our way. Like if we need to get something done,
I agree.
Then we learn what we need to get it done.
Yeah,
Gary?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Gary, you were gonna say something?
It's good that you mentioned that your teacher. Yes. You mentioned earlier that your math teacher helped you introduce you to coding, because that's one also way to help children with math concept or math skills, because coding helps children to be able to visualize abstract concepts, let them play math, let them apply math to real world situations, and make fun, uh, make math fun and creative. Because basically, it's coding is math, and
Mm.
it it prompts them to think, right? Yeah, yeah, good.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
think
so
it's
are
just
there
yeah. I
Sati, in your school, do you have
yeah.
any challenges?
What age are we talking?
Do
Because
you have
I
any
think the
challenges
main
when you try to integrate coding?
I think the biggest challenge, and this is probably for every
In
school
my
that introduced.
case, in my case,
Go ahead, Gary.
go ahead. In my case, I introduced coding with my grade 6 students. So these are
Okay.
around 16.
Okay. Yeah, we start in kindergarten.
Wow. Okay. So what are the challenges?
I think in terms of the challenges, I think these are probably the same for every school. I don't want to obviously, sort of assume that everyone has the same issues, but I think it is subject knowledge,
Yeah.
because not every school, and our school is the same. Not every school has a dedicated computer science teacher, especially at a primary school level. So what happens then is it's passed on to the class teacher. Now, class teachers, unless they have a passion or an interest in technology and coding, there's a very good chance that they do not necessarily either see the value of it, or they'd rather spend their time, freshing up on their geography and their history rather than their coding. And I think the biggest challenge is getting the message across that coding is a core subject now. And I love what the British curriculum has done, where they've made it a core subject. So it is on paper, it is as important as English, as important as maths. And that's what it should be, because things have changed. If I was to say, no, I have no interest in history, so I'm not going to study about the ancient Greeks, I don't care about them, and I'm not going to teach my students, everybody would look at me and they would probably just be horrified that I just said, I'm not interested in history, so therefore I don't teach my students. I feel the same about coding. I don't know I don't know everything there is to know, but I will happily find out. And so I think that's the message that we have to get across. And I think that's the biggest challenge that schools are faced with, is the sort of this mindset of coding is something for techies, coding is something for geeks. No, coding is part of everyday life. Every job has one or another form of technology involved, and we're all using technology, yet nobody knows how the technology is run and how to code this technology. So it's just as important as maths, geography, history, English, all the other subjects, and that has been the biggest challenge.
Yes, I agree. Now, Ruth has according to Ruth, she'd like to learn how to code, and I'd like to show how to use Google Sheets to introduce coding. For example, uh, I am with Bulacan State University, for example. So let me share my screen so I can give Ruth some example on how you can use Google Sheet and introduce coding. Maybe I
Demo
can
time.
ask later, Seti or Eric, if you have something to share. Demo time, okay? So let me
Demo
show
time.
my
Go for it.
screen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Okay, let me share my entire screen. Okay, so for example, we have. Can you see my screen now?
It looks like it's loading for me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's say, okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
So I have opened a Google Sheet. Let's say, for example, I always type the Bulacan. It's still loading, I think. So let's say I will type Bulacan State University. So instead of typing it every time, if I just want to type, I'll make a function wherein BSU, and then it will automatically put the text BSU. So to do that, what we can do is we can click Tools, and then we go to Script Editor. And then you will see the script editor. Basically, you have some commands there, but I'll explain it because it's very easy. So I'll explain some. My internet is not very fast, that's why it's loading slow. So just be patient there. So for example, so I have my function. So basically, what we have, like for example, equal sum, it's a function. So this is the basic command. So what you need to do is just type the command to create a function. You type the command function. And then let's say, for example, I'll type BSU. I'll just have to put open and close parentheses to identify that it is a function. And this function will perform whatever is within the curly braces. So for example, I'd like to type in Bulacan State University. So Bulacan State University. All I need to do is put them in double quote and then just put here return. So it means it will return when I use BSU, open close parenthesis with an equal sign, it will return Bulacan State University. All I need to do is save this. So let's say BSU, and then I'll click OK. So when I go back to my spreadsheet and I make use of BSU, open close parenthesis, it will, oh, what happened here? Unknown
That's called
function.
programming.
Okay. Yes, basically, that's called programming.
That's programming
Okay,
is oops, and then we fix it. That's what programming is.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay.
What was wrong
It's
with it?
just
What was wrong
delayed
with it?
because it haven't been saved.
Oh, gotcha.
See, that's another thing.
My internet is
Absolutely, Eric, what you just said, that hits
Yes.
so many schools are, they're all focused on teaching like these growth mindsets and moving
Yes.
coding. Coding
Yes.
is like, that is the, if you're not willing to make mistakes, go in and figure out where it went wrong and just go through everything over and over and over. It's such a great thing to really work on that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Like what you just demonstrated,
Yes.
Gary. That was brilliant example. Something went wrong, and instead of saying, okay, I give up,
it's
like,
working
oh,
now.
yeah,
well, let's
yeah,
have a look.
yeah.
What happened and why didn't it? And like
It worked.
the
It
whole
works.
Yeah, we know,
problem
we know,
solving
yeah.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I remember when I was just starting as a mainframe
basically-
programmer, and the guy in the night shift, I was working in the night shift, he was training me. He wrote a very simple program to illustrate, and he was astonished. And the reason he was astonished was because his very simple program worked the first time. And his astonishment was very educational for me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it's one of those things that I think,
Okay.
once you get used to that and you just know that things are they're gonna go wrong. Like things
Yeah.
are going to break. Accept it, move past that, and
Yeah.
just go with it.
Take it like
And
a
I think
puzzle.
that's why it's so important to start really young, to get into the habit of, okay, that didn't work. Where can we debug it? And use that language with really young children. Like, okay, there's a bug, something went wrong. Let's debug it. Let's go back in
Yes.
and figure this out.
And also, it teaches us to question things. It question because every time something goes wrong, you made some assumption that was incorrect. It could be just a typo, but often when something goes wrong, you're like, wait, that's perfect, and that's perfect, and that's perfect, and yet it's not working. That means one of the things you thought was perfect is not perfect. You need to go
Yes.
back and re-examine your assumptions, and that's so
Absolutely.
helpful logically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I see Adriana is on Hangouts asking for the YouTube link, so I'm just going to quickly share that with her. Just give me a minute.
Okay. We
Okay,
also have
Hyung-wook?
maybe I'd like to
Yes.
show
Judy's friend.
the comment
Hi.
of
Okay.
the comment from Ruth. Yes, I finally understand what pivot tables are just because I didn't give up.
Oh,
Just like
nice.
coding, you don't give up. You don't just give up if you don't understand something, right? So
Absolutely.
maybe we can introduce coding using spreadsheets and make use of different functions, and then later on
Mm,
they can create their own function just like what I did,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So thanks, Ruth,
Absolutely.
for your comment.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly, if you've got a
So
minute
Seti,
here,
do you have anything to share for to
I
us
am
or to
actually about to share my
go ahead?
screen. So if you just quickly pull that up, I don't know if you can see it.
Go.
Just,
Can you get Sethi's screen on full screen?
Hmm.
does everyone see this?
Okay,
No.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Huh.
Okay,
Okay.
that's interesting. Does anyone else see my screen?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. To stream. Go
there we
ahead.
go. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Where is your screen? Okay. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Seti.
I'm not sure he's here, but that's his screen, so he must be here.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Okay.
Hey, Sethi,
Yes. Now we
we
can hear you.
lost you for a second. Yeah,
Go ahead. We can see your
Did you
screen
kick
now.
me out?
he did. He did. No, I don't know if
Okay,
he did.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is, first of all, I'm a huge fan of creating your own resources.
No.
He's responding to your accusation.
Mhm.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so do you hear me?
Yeah. He's got a
Okay.
5-second delay. So
That explains
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
so can you see everything?
yes.
So everything you'll see here was basically created in Google Drawings.
Yes.
So Google Drawings, a free tool.
Mhm.
We all have access to it. And I just wanted to quickly show you how easy it is to create resources that you can then have in your ongoing provision with very young students. Now we're talking 3 and 4 year olds here. So here's some examples of things that we've created to sort of introduce coding at a very young age. So I'm just going to quickly open up the preview so it doesn't take too much to load. But here, basically, the challenge is to get back to their hive.
Mhm.
And instead of just having them code and look at code in a very formal way, text-based or pseudocode, or we start with basic concepts. And we all know the programmable robots and the beebots. And so what we were trying to do is take that out of the world of technology and move it into their world of ongoing provision, and it's in the environment. So we made a couple of these sheets, and then you just slide them into plastic sleeves, and you just leave them all over the place. Like, this is not a worksheet type of thing. It's literally just, it's there. There's whiteboard markers. If they want to access it, they can access it. If not, they don't. Now, what we noticed is the first group of children, what they would do is they would just draw onto this grid.
Mhm.
And that's really the first step. So what they did was they started drawing a line. So they would go up and then left. And so they started drawing that. And then other kids actually took it a step further, and they drew the line up left. But then they also added some arrows down the bottom where you can see my algorithm. And this is where we start introducing language to the very young children. So they would then draw an arrow up and an arrow left. So that was then their algorithm. So we tried to sort of create a whole bunch of these, different difficulty levels. And then some kids were really interested in dinosaurs. So what we did was we quickly created some that linked up to dinosaurs. And again, this is all done in Google Drawings. So it literally takes just a couple minutes. Once you've got sort of that general template, a couple minutes, put your images in, and then just tweak the colors and get them there for your students. Now, this was after a while, they got so comfortable doing this that they just filled out their algorithm at the bottom and no longer drew the lines at the top that you can see here. So what we did was we increased it, the difficulty level. So instead of just having one step, we now had 2 steps. So now our dinosaur had to go and eat something before he went home. Okay. So we then added a second layer. So what we would have children in their algorithm write up, up, right, then an M for meat, and then up, left, left, left. And so what happened was we very soon had 4-year-olds that were able to, easily complete these. And you can see I've got a whole bunch here. I've got some space versions as well, because again, we want to appeal to our students' interests.
Yeah.
So here we had some challenges where there were some obstacles that they had to avoid, and they had to get around those. So we just constantly increase the difficulty levels. And then obviously, because we do have Bbots at school, what we did then was we started creating our own Bbot mats. So these linked in with their topics. So here you can see an example of a Neverland, which had to do with obviously Peter Pan and everything else. So here we then give them instructions. So you print these, everything is in the correct format. And they started by printing this very large scale and giving each other instructions. So then, for example, they would say, okay, Tom, I need you to move forward 3 steps, rotate right, and then move forward 1 more step. And then that child would execute that code. And so we try to use that language. Now we're talking, 4 or 5-year-olds. So we're working our way up, and we're still not using any of these robots. We're not using any programmable things. But then it's so easy to then transfer that onto robots and coding those robots. So yeah, I would highly recommend everyone diving onto Google Drawings. It's super easy to create this. I'm just going to quickly show you how easy it is. You literally create a new file. I'm just going to quickly create and share, because this is a shared folder. First things you need to do is your dimensions. So let's say that you want to have a grid that's 100 by 100, and you've got 10 by 10 squares. So the first thing we're going to do is we go to our file settings and then page setup. So we're going to change our page setup, and we're going to select custom. So here, let's say that we've got centimeters, and we're going to send this to a local print shop. So we're going to say 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters, and they will print it out. Printing posters is fairly cheap and easy nowadays. So just going to apply that, and we now have a nice grid. So this will eventually be our grid that will then be sent to a printer, or we can print it ourselves and stick it all together. Then you're going to click on the shape. You're going to add a square, literally just 1 tap. Boom, you've got a square. Now, in our format options here, and I think this is something that a lot of us have forgotten about, you can actually specify the exact size you want. And so here you can now change this to fit with your actual canvas. So this is then where you would change the aspect ratio. So let's say that you change this to 5 inches by 5 inches. Now, I'm not sure what the actual inch to centimeters. I would have to quickly do a conversion. But let's just say that we've got that here. Quickly duplicate this with Control D. How quick this goes to, and I'm literally just going to repeat the same process over and over and over. I'm going to duplicate this again. I've got another 4. There you go. I've now got 8. And this actually is a perfect fit. So maybe it's that size. Going to move that up. Yeah. Do you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. I just remember the avatar, the template that you provided us, the team, the 8-biters.
Yes.
I think you made it using drawings. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
You just keep selecting the big group. There we go. New is as a teacher is I can now keep this file, and this is now my template file. I now have this. I'm literally just going to store this as template 100 by 100. And there we go. Whenever I want to make a new grid to use in my coding lessons or hands-on coding, I've got a grid ready. I can do whatever I want with it. I can just change the fill to being transparent. I'll group all this together. There we go, group. I've got a nice clean grid, and I can do whatever I want with this grid now. And so I would highly recommend that if you are serious about coding, and if you're trying to introduce it to very young students, go hands-on. Do everything hands-on. As basic as the language of, for example, getting ready for school. Step 1, wake up. Step 2, take off your pajamas. Step 3, take a shower. Step 4, dry. Step 5, take your toothbrush. Step 6, put on toothpaste. And you have to do everything in the correct order, because if you put your toothbrush in your mouth before putting toothpaste on, there's a bug in your code, and then you have to debug it. So using that language really helps our young students to understand the basic concepts of coding. So yeah, that
Yes.
was something I wanted to share.
Yeah. Earlier, when we were earlier, Eric mentioned that basically coding help kids or children with their math skills. Now you're saying that coding helps the kids to speak with their language, because I think coding also improves
Absolutely.
writing skills, their writing skills, and their language, because you have to interpret what in time they have to present their work, so you have to explain. So coding is
Mm.
not just the computer work, but also teaching them how to explain things and make them feel comfortable explaining with an audience, right?
And
So it's
that's something getting
basically a basic skill.
Yeah, and getting that across to your teachers,
Go ahead.
because coding can be done in a math lesson, coding can be done in a PE lesson, coding
Yeah,
can be done in an English lesson. It's not ICT anymore. We're talking computing. We're talking it's
yeah,
bigger than that. Like, I mean, one of the things we did at our school is like there is no more computer lab, because we want computing to be part of every other thing. Other schools have other definitions,
yes,
like other schools do it in a different way, but it's getting that message across that computing, it's something, it's like language. It's, if you have dedicated lessons for theory, perfect, no problem. But if you were to say, no, English is only for our English lessons, don't speak English now, that's only for the English lesson, well, then the progress is not going to be there. And I
yeah,
think coding is the same. If we limit it to an ICT lesson, then we're not really helping our students, and we're not giving them the opportunities and the chances that we could be giving them.
So I'm
So
curious, what's an
I
example of
agree.
a
I
use of
definitely
coding in an
agree.
English class?
again,
Oh,
sequencing,
interpretation.
giving them different paragraphs, and have links as well. So, for example, when you're writing stories, introducing concepts like loops, and if-then statements. So you've got
Super.
characters in certain situations, and if this happens, then this happens, and you give them a couple of paragraphs, and they have to formulate the entire story around those key paragraphs. And it's just the whole seeing this, it's the decomposition. You know how coding has different, so you're looking at a story as a whole, and you're breaking it down into smaller bits of information,
Yeah.
and then you're looking at patterns and how those things tie together. So, for example, a character walks into a cave and he slips and falls. Why did he slip and fall? Because it was too dark in that cave. Now, next time he goes to that cave, he brings a torch. When he turns on the torch, it's no longer dark. So if it's not dark, he's actually going to find a way around that, slippery area. And then, so what you can do is, those books, the Choose
Choose
Your
your own
Own
adventure.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Choose
because it
Your
sounds
Own
like you're talking
Adventure
about the Cave of Time. Yeah.
Exactly. So you have them write,
Yeah.
choose your own adventures, but in order to plan that, you're coding. You're planning it, because your plan will look like code.
100%.
If this happens, then that, and if that happens, then you go back to this point, and then that is code. That's pure code. So that's
Totally
how I would
works.
bring it into a writing or a literacy lesson.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah. Because when you because when you explain your code, it means you have to express it. So it's basically a language. So it's
Yes,
also
and
a logic, right?
I
So
love what
you're
Adriana
teaching
says.
discipline.
Yeah.
Adriana's saying it's an instructional language. You're looking at the steps you follow to write a story, beginning, small problem solved, big problem solved, the end. Exactly. That is exactly what it is. Let me just pop up. But
Yeah, sorry. I just want to throw a fish at your ass. Okay.
No.
Thank you,
Get that on there,
Adriana.
because get people involved. It's brilliant. I see many people here. And Ruth is in
Yes,
the
yes,
chat, and Adriana's in the chat. I love it. Brilliant. We need some
yes,
more people in stream. So Ruth,
yes.
Adriana, if you want to pop in, I'll drop you the link. You can join us in this conversation. it'd be great to have some more people join. I
Yes,
saw
yes.
Ralph was trying to jump in as well. I think he'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
Not sure who else is. There was
Yes, yes.
definitely and a couple of
Anyway,
others.
would like any other example? 'Cause
Example of what?
in my case, I am into sheets. Basic things that you can do, small things that you can do. For example, just like what I did earlier, you just have to create a simple function instead of typing the entire name of the school. You can just simply create a function with 3 characters, and then automatically you have it. With Google Sheets, you can also do that with Google Docs, Google Forms, and other G Suite apps, right? Any? Would you like to give an example, Eric or Seti?
I don't really do much coding
Yeah,
these days.
I mean,
Because basically in my case, go ahead.
yeah. If you want, I've got one more. Because I'm really excited about this
Go
one.
ahead.
I've had an app on my phone for a while now. I don't know if you, and it's by Google. It's Grasshopper. I don't know if you've heard of it. So Grasshopper it's a free app,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yes.
a gamified way of teaching JavaScript, and it's available for free on mobile devices. But
Okay.
big announcement.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, they announced that they were going to become available on web, and I've literally just checked, and I'm going to share my screen because this is actually really exciting because I love Grasshopper. It's such a fun thing. So yeah, Gary, if you want to just quickly pop up my screen.
Okay. Wait. Let's welcome Ralph. Ralph,
Hey,
hello.
Hi, everybody. I am so sorry
Thanks for joining us.
joining late. I wasn't aware that you start at a different time.
Gary's in a different time zone. I think he got confused.
Okay, well, I am so sorry that I'm not up to date with what you have done.
Let's just say you're in time for the 8 o'clock when we're supposed to go live. So that's brilliant.
I don't know how I can still put my input in because I have something really awesome I just learned last week and I need to share that. So I don't know if you can make.
Definitely, we've got. I think Gary is good to go for a bit longer, right, Gary?
Yeah, sure. Okay. We can go for another hour.
There you go.
Okay, well, great.
So, Ralph, I was just saying, have you used Grasshopper before on the phone?
I haven't.
Okay, so I was just gonna show because I'm so excited. I literally just shared my screen. It's an amazing app on the phone to teach JavaScript, but it's become available on the web now. So if you go to learn.grasshopper.app, you can see it here. You can log in with your Google account, and they literally walk you through this gamified way of teaching JavaScript. So I'm just going to hop into one example here. So there's a French flag, and they want us to, draw a French flag. But the way that the program works is great fun. So you can see we've got JavaScript up here, and then you've got your explanations down the side. There's always a hint, so when students get stuck or if you get stuck. At the bottom, you've got a couple of syntax, so you don't necessarily have to worry too much about your syntax. Okay. And then at the top, you've got some code. Now, do mind, this is not the first level, so there's a couple levels in. And then they will ask you to add the variables and the code that you want. And then when you run the code here, you will see what's missing. So it instantly says, try adding another if statement at the bottom of your code. So it's a really very fun gamified way of introducing different concepts. So you can see if this, then do that. And they have so many different little activities. You can see here, I've just played around with a couple. But here we've got a very basic shape. So you can see here, draw box blue, draw box white, draw box red, new line, blue, white, red. And so what happens when you run your code is your Grasshopper is drawing a little French flag. Nice. So it's a really great way of teaching JavaScript in a non-pushy way.
Non-threatening.
Yeah, non-threatening as well, because I loved it on mobile, And I remember saying, like, it's such a shame that we can't get this onto desktops and onto laptops. And so, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, they announced that it would become available. And now I literally just went to the website and it's here. So
Cool.
I'm really, really excited. So yeah, go and check that out.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant environment to learn JavaScript, and it's learn.grasshopper.app. So
Now, I can't remember, is Google Apps Script, is it JavaScript or is it just remarkably similar in its format?
From what I can tell, it's incredibly
It's
similar.
Go.
Okay, cool.
It's similar, but Google has its own language. They call it Go.
Okay.
Google Go.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's the whole thing with people saying like, oh, how many languages do you read and write? Well, once you've, it's, I think once you know one, the others will come.
It's
A lot
easy
easier.
to adapt.
It's
Yeah.
easier. It's easier because it's like what I said before. I don't code. I copy paste. Like so, like the concepts behind it, and then you just copy paste the correct syntax and so yeah. I think that's definitely.
I think.
Okay, let's now hear it from our expert, Ralph. Woohoo!
Okay,
Everyone, point to Ralph. There you go. Give him some pressure.
I used to be a language teacher, and I am still. I teach myself becoming better at communication, and welcome my good friends which are present here to teach me to become a better communicator, because I make mistakes all the time. And I like that you say we don't code, we just copy and paste and see what works. And
I think Ralph. Okay, Ralph, we lost you
we're
for a
good.
minute. Do you want to repeat that?
No, yeah.
am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So in the beginning, when you learn English as a second language, you also might copy phrases and expressions which you are not fully aware of if they fit or not, and you just try it out, and you see that that conveys what I wanted to say, and then you keep using it with more confidence. And at some point, you understand the syntax and know what language can do for you in a language between us. And I think so sorry, Gary, that we haven't personally met, but I met you, Eric, and Seti knows me very well, and I seemed to work to be conscious about language, and to be conscious about coding can then suddenly a very, very big beauty can erupt in you. And I think that Eric can maybe easily relate, because when you see what the syntax has to offer for you, and with the Google APIs, that's just so magical that you have access to everything. You have access to slides, you have access to sheets, you have access to mail, you have access to Google Maps, you have access to so many parts. And when you get better at a language and better at seeing what you can do, that's when the magic happens. And I think for our student, it takes even less effort to convince them of the beauty than it takes for us. Okay, some don't like coding because they think they're not able to get to that point, but I think that's our job to let them experience themselves.
I think excitement makes a huge difference, because I mean, I've seen you when you were delivering your session at the Bangkok Summit, Ralph. You were so excited about AppScript. That excitement is infectious. Like when people see that, they want to know why you're excited. They want to experience what you experience. And that's the same for your class. If you are excited and you come in and you show them something, you say, look, you can do this and this, and oh, let me just do that. That excitement is infectious. Like, I mean, you were presenting, and I think there were a couple down the side that probably would have never gone to a coding lesson or a coding. And just because you were so excited about it, they were sat there and they were like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And so I think that's what we need. We need less of these sort of grumpy teachers that say that's for the IT teacher, that's for the techie guy. No, it's for everyone. Like, you're excited about language, share it. You're excited about maths, share it. I had a teacher who was excited about code. He happened to be a maths teacher, but he told me about code, and his excitement got me excited. And then I got someone else excited. And now I bump into other people that are just as excited, and they're introducing me to stuff that I like. AppScript. The first time I heard about AppScript and the fact that I could dive into my G Suite and change stuff. The fact that I could write my own menus and get my commands in a menu like that, it's yes. Like, bring it on. It's amazing.
So,
Now
to
I'd
try.
like-
Sorry.
I'd like to see an example from Ralph.
Okay. Well,
I'd like to see an example from Ralph.
I don't know what you've shared, but has anybody talked about Turtle Academy?
We have not.
Nope.
Okay. Well, great, because
No,
we have to be a bit. You have to bear with me. I am not winging this. I've done this in class many times, and if Mr. Sethi were so kind to remind me of the 5-minute mark here, is that okay?
Don't worry,
Can I
Ralph.
ask?
You've got 50 minutes. You've got 50 minutes.
No.
Go for it.
So, can you confirm that you see my screen?
Yeah.
And
yes, yes.
then I will rightly dive in right away. So you see this little turtle here, and I know that Sethi knows about this language. It's called Logo, and it is. Before I show you the playground, I quickly tell, because it's the most important thing, that there are 24 lessons which guide the student step by step to the syntax. And it starts with you seeing just a little turtle here, and it starts with a simple type of forward 50, and turtle walks 50 steps ahead, and you get a little tick mark here. I'm not sure if I can zoom in. No, I can't. So here at the top, you see the little tick mark. So you have passed the first lesson, and that goes on and on and on until you have variables, and you really can see what you can do with it. And what my lesson is, because I have 5 minutes, I quickly I wanted to go to Canva up, but I think that loads very slow. No, what is the notepad where you can draw on Google? Canvas app, Google. I'm not sure if that works. Otherwise, but I have to
Drawing.
do it. Yeah, drawing. I could.
Yeah, Canvas is a drawing app.
Okay. I hope it loads quickly. Well, so my idea was to take a very simple object and try to see the repetitive function. And let me show you what object I'm. Can you see my drawing?
Yes.
Okay, so please say
Yes.
if you know what it is. Can you say what it is yet?
Snowflake.
Yes, very good. So if you look at this snowflake, you might see that there's a repetitive form in it. And I will show you. Can anybody tell me the repetitive form already?
Fractal.
Yes.
Okay, Gary.
The current sign.
So the repetitive object is exactly just this, okay? It looks like a chicken foot or something similar. And if you follow my cursor, I changed to red, then you can see that this basic chicken foot is here. And it's just repeated 3 times, and then you have one leg of a snowflake, okay? That is one leg just with these chicken feet. So in my lesson works all these steps, so we can just draw this chicken feet. And if we work 30 forward, we right turn 45 degrees and again forward 30. then we go back 30, and we turn left 90 degrees. We walk forward again 30. We walk back 30. And then we right turn only 45 degrees and go forward 30 again. And if I'm very lucky, we can see a chicken foot, but I keep doing TL instead of a left turn. So the program tells me what I did wrong. And there I have the chicken leg. I clear my screen and go up twice. And there I have the chicken leg. If I hide the turtle with HD, hide turtle. Why doesn't it hide the turtle? Doesn't matter.
HT.
H turtle. That's it. Thank you very much. So perfect that I made a mistake, which SETI spotted. So collaboration works all the time. So I have this little code for the chicken leg. And now the only thing I have to do is repeat that. How many times? Sorry, I have to copy the code.
TL in the middle.
TL in the middle, thank you.
Yeah.
Mark it all, copy it, and repeat that 3 times. And then I should have a whole leg. Hey, isn't that beautiful?
Nice.
And now you can just with a few more commands, if you think about when we are at the top, we have to go back. How many legs, how many steps? Can anybody tell me?
4.
So it is 60 per leg. 60 times 3 is 120, 180.
Oh.
Back 180. And then I have to right turn how many degrees?
45? Is that what you said?
No, 45. Then I have to repeat it. How many times? 8 times. But I only want
360 divided by 5.
no, by 6, which makes it 360 divided by 6 is
60.
Just quickly,
60.
Gary,
60.
Ruth,
Yes.
I think Ruth is trying to get in. I don't know if she's in the backstage or.
Okay, I can't see her here.
Okay, I'll tell. Maybe she
It's
can try again.
automatically-
'Cause Sorry, carry on,
Okay.
carry on, Gary.
Go ahead.
Okay, I did that
ahead.
once, and
Oh,
now
sorry.
I clear the screen, and I should have the full snowflake here. Okay, I repeated 6 times, and I have the full snowflake. So to make this lesson now complete, we have only 3 repeat functions here, but it makes a very beautiful object, and with a few more commands like size, I can apply to the students' understanding of how to create art with code. And actually, when you told me about the thing.
Oh, sorry, not Ruth. Judy. Judy's trying to get in.
Sorry, City, when you showed a Grasshopper app,
But I have
I got reminded of that. So I let you
I
go.
love Grasshopper. It is brilliant.
I finish with showing you sorry.
Can I just quickly piggyback off of what you just showed, Ralph?
Please go ahead.
Because Logo is, I love how easy it is to teach Logo. And so what we did is we introduced, with the Turtle Academy, we introduced sort of basic statements. If you open up a second tab, and if you just quickly have a look for Probots. Now, if anyone here has heard about like programmable robots, we all know Bbots, but the Probot is the Bbot's big brother, and it's a car, and it runs, it uses Logo. So you see the little screen there. If you open up one of these images, so that screen, that is Logo. So it uses Logo to run all the commands. And in the middle of that robot, you can place a pencil or a marker. And so you can draw out that shape that you just did digitally in the actual real world on
And
the floor.
Guess who showed that to me? Seti.
Which one? Turtle Academy.
No, Probots.
Who?
Mr. Seti himself.
Someone who loves Probots.
And I'm not sure if I should continue because my screen is still shared. I have something amazing, something else very amazing, but I don't want to hinder the discussion. So I wanted to have Probots in my school for primary. That would surely be great. And I think nobody can really get frustrated with that basic logo language, and that is, I think, very good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
agree.
love Probots, and you showed it to me at a GG meeting. So GG has
Very nice.
good impact. And so the other thing which I wanted to show you is Twinery, and this fits perfectly in with.
I'm going to take a picture of everyone here. Smile.
Make your own adventure, build your own adventure.
Choose
What
your
is
own
it
adventure. Yeah, choose your own adventure.
Is there abbreviation COYA or something? COYA or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And this was done by my predecessor at the old school, at my school now, at British Columbian International School, Bangkok. And I didn't know about it. So I share my
Brilliant.
screen.
Sorry, Adriana. Yes. She just said we have those robots in our
Robots,
school,
yeah.
and I didn't realize it. Yes. They run
Okay.
logo. It's super, super easy. Sorry, Ralph, I interrupted you. Carry on.
So
Actually, I'm just going to pop out for 15 minutes. I'll be back. Well, 10 minutes. I'll be back in a bit.
okay, Seti, but I need
If
your
somebody
support.
else, I'll jump back in. But if somebody else wants to take my place on the big screen, and then I can go backstage.
Sure.
Okay, so Ralph, you're talking about choose your own adventure.
Yes, I was talking about choose my own adventure, and I must be very careful now that I don't show my student's email address. So please don't take me don't share my screen just now because I have to download a file first, and then I show you Twinery. So student
Okay.
showed me.
Okay.
My screen can be shared now. Just checking.
Okay. So while you're having,
I'm ready to share my screen, Gary.
okay,
Gary's on a
great,
slight
great.
delay.
Okay. Thank you for warning me, Eric.
Yeah.
So this is called.
Yes, I am. I have shared it.
Okay, this is Twinery.
Okay.
And it's called Twine, and I have not used it myself.
Okay.
But the beauty of it is that you save everything in an HTML file, and I don't see where it is. No, something good. So a student sent me an HTML file, and this is 599 kilobyte, and I'm opening that in Twine now, and I'm clicking on it, and this what you see here. Try to navigate around. I'm not sure. I don't even know.
So it's a
I don't even know
visualization of
how.
the story.
Exactly. And I haven't used it myself, so I don't even know. Yeah, I can
There
move
you
away
go.
with
Okay.
cursors.
Whoa.
And this is crazy.
I like
Safe to say that
Wow.
this student is a bit magical in his skills. So he said that he spent several weeks on that, and the teacher gave him also that time. And it is a build your own adventure, but it is working with media, and it has even the way of saving. Do you hear the music?
No.
Okay, so let me mute that for myself. There's music in the background. And you see that you have to name your city, and then you start Everchiston, and you are confronted with these choices throughout the story, and it's not only a story; it's a kind of game. So
Yeah.
you have natural goods which you have to keep in order to advance in the story, and these stats are here: happiness, food, soldiers, citizens. You see yourself, and I have only tried to play this game for a bit, and it's really what's the right word? Sophisticated and magical for me to see that a student has done that. And um, I haven't planned to use it in my class. I haven't written it in my planning just yet, but I wish I could show you. Yeah, that is the starting page. So I don't even know where the end is. Yeah, where the happy end is. But I've encountered a dead end, or where I lose, and it's amazing. And this is visualized. So even if this is not necessary coding, it gets you to storytelling, to a whole new level of storytelling. And
Yes.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is Twinery or Twine. And I am looking forward to finding space and use in my classroom. And I think it's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, I've thought
Yeah,
a lot
it's
about
very nice. It's
choose your own
very, very
adventure as
good.
well. Yeah.
Um,
Go
I
ahead,
thought
Gary.
about it
okay,
with Google
so
Forms.
coding.
Sorry, Gary, your turn.
There's a lot of benefits when we teach coding to kids. Not necessarily typing and coding everything, but we can make use of these templates, and there's a lot of resources online that we can make use, so we can engage our students more, and they can be more creative than before, right? So thank you for sharing that one. Go ahead, Eric or Ralph.
Yeah, I just thought a lot about choose your own adventure projects before, and I've never really undertaken one. I've seen it done in some kind of Google. I don't know. It's like maybe links between Google Sheets before as one method, and also I'm would kind of flashback on Ralph. Do you remember MUDs? I don't know if Gary, you would remember those multi-user dungeons back in text only time in the early PC days.
I think
Basically, yeah, it
I
kind of
think I
reminded me of what
never
you
played
were.
them myself, but
Really?
I knew
Yeah,
people who were.
yeah. So it's like where it says you're in a room. You know, all you see is the text. You're in a room, and there's a door, and it's like try door, move forward, and then it says,
You need
there's
a
a
key.
box. Yeah, you're like open the box. You need a key. Open the box. You need a
Mm,
key. So and you just keep trying. So it kind of it's the same mentality that people need to work through the persistence and the mentality that people need to work through problems in coding.
It's beautiful that storytelling can bridge
yeah,
that.
very good, very good.
I didn't know really. I wasn't aware of it myself until
Yeah,
recently.
that's very cool. So Ralph, what kind of coding do
Oh,
you have?
Ralph,
Like,
what else can do you think?
yeah,
Um, so I'm trying to. I just had it in my mind, and there's a lot of what is that teaches you also JavaScript, and you are Code Combat. I don't
Code Combat. Yeah,
has Sati not mentioned that before?
not today. No, I'm not familiar with it.
Not
So
yet.
I haven't, even with my school account, I
Well,
haven't made an account with my school account, which I'm using at the moment. But Code Combat is a, sorry, how do we call this, plain field playing games where you, it's like Mario Land, but you are on a
Oh,
plane, and you are a knight, and I'm not sure what the category of the
yeah.
games is. It's nearly like a board game. I'm trying to start it in the background, and if I'm ready, I can. Yes, I am ready. So if I may share my screen again.
okay, sure.
I
Sure.
quickly show you
Sure.
how the concept works. And Gary, let me quickly shout out to your awesome hosting skills. And it took me a minute to get used to the lag, but now I'm there, and I respect your work. So here we see.
Apologies.
Can you wow. Can you confirm that you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
I believe you have a few levels completely free, and you can choose as a teacher if you have a classroom or if the students should learn JavaScript, or I don't even know the other option now. I feel pretty embarrassed.
That's
And
okay.
it works that you have a hero,
No worries.
and this hero, here it is. So you can choose between JavaScript or Python or
Okay.
CoffeeScript, and that is new. So you see with CoffeeScript, that's experimental. Nice JavaScript syntax. I love it. So you see it already with the attempt this whole tool has. It's very child orientated, and we choose JavaScript for now, and we have now 85 jewels or something, and we can equip, I believe, a bit of a better headgear. We see here to the right, health 8 or health 25. So it's very much like a role-playing game, but the moment you start the level, you see that you don't have the normal options to move your hero around to fight people, but you have tasks. And where are the tasks? Start level. So I have the task, my hero must survive. I have to get the gem, which is here at the end, and I must make it without any code problems and under 5 statements. And if you know light bulb, light bot, you know that concept of that you have tasks which you have to make in a minimum amount of statements. So here in the middle you have the commands, and I move right, and they don't let me. I mean, I can cheat by copying it, I give, but let's just type it. Hero move right. Oh, here I have a selection, and then I can tell them that he should move right. I think it's 2. And then the next is hero move down 1. And you see it is very, very user friendly. It puts a semicolon in the back without me worrying about it too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so hey, how many times I executed code and didn't work because of one semicolon.
Yeah.
So but that is a good learning to have. Yeah, you need to be correct in your statements or it won't
Yeah.
work. And that's a nice one. Let's see if I was correct. So it moves down, and I'm missing one more command, which is hero move right 2. Oh, do I have to move down? Oh, I'm not sure. But you see the concept. Oh, I want to get the diamond, and now I'm showing
Yeah.
you
Yes.
exactly
Yes.
what
Yes.
the motivation
It's
is.
okay.
Um,
That's what I teach my students, Ralph. We have to be, when we code, we teach students how to be keen to details, do the right thing. That's what I mentioned when I teach coding to my kids. We have to be very particular with what we do. We have to be correct. You don't just type things and then not double check them. So
yeah,
being
and
keen to details is one of the disciplines I tell my students.
it also moves along where we are in the code. So I know that I have to use the shield here somewhere, which is shield. I don't know actually how, for one move or something. I'm not sure.
Mhm. Yeah, he's
And
having a problem there.
yeah, I'm having a problem because my hero doesn't advance, and I want to get to the gem.
Yeah, it seems like there's something at that point. I can't see it very well.
Yes, there's spikes here, and I don't
Gotcha.
know how to move it. So I'll just step out of it because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Ah,
But we have 45 levels in the free version, and it becomes pricey when you want to get to the to the full version. Now I'm disclosing my email address, but that's okay. I use Gmail, so I can easily just
So that's good.
block anybody. Yeah, so
You
Code
know what,
Combat is
Ralph?
not free in the whole version.
What-
I
what I
quickly
like
have to
about-
excuse myself for 3 minutes, and I will be back. Just 2 minutes. I have to do something urgent.
Okay.
Just a minute. I'm very sorry.
Okay, it's okay. What I like about what Ralph showed is that
Yeah.
I can teach JavaScript now without being too technical because I'm teaching college students now. So I maybe I can start with this one with what Ralph gave us, and
Yeah.
then because it's easy, it's so hard to explain to students the document that get elements by ID, and then you give the ID, and then you give the inner HTML, and then its value.
Yeah.
Maybe with this one, we can start with the game, and then later on explain how this is related to the page, and then control the page and the object in the page and the content of the object in the page.
Yeah.
So it's a
yeah.
nice way to introduce coding to our kids because we have a lot of resources online, but for a teacher, it will be too it will be very overwhelming which one to use. Just like what you asked me earlier, what do I use to introduce coding? Because there's too many resources. So I focus on one. I focus on JavaScript.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to learn Python. So hopefully later on in few days, weeks, I can learn Python.
Yeah.
So let's welcome back Seti. Seti, hello.
Hello.
Oh.
Where's Ralph gone?
Okay.
Don't know. He had to go for something. And
Ralph
he'll be
just
back. He'll be back.
demonstrated, yeah, for a few minutes. He'll be
What
back.
did he demonstrate?
So Ralph just gave us
Code Combat.
Oh, I love
what-
Code
how-
Combat.
Yeah, it looked pretty
Code
cool.
Combat. So it's so nice.
Very gamified.
Yeah.
Very
so
gamified.
it's easy to introduce coding now.
Yeah, he was getting stuck
Yeah.
on this little
So,
path, and
Seti,
he
what
wanted
was-
to solve it, and so did I. I wanted to see it work.
Yeah. So what do you think are the other benefits of teaching coding to other subject? Any other
I
ideas
think-
or inputs that you can give us?
Yeah, I personally think it's. I mean, really, it's endless. The benefits far outweigh the risk of. I mean, the investment in time to learn it, because you don't have to be a coder to teach coding or coding concepts, because you can discover together with your students. So yeah, I definitely do think that they are. Yeah, the benefits outweigh it. I would
There are-
say problem solving. Problem solving is the main one. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath. I just did 3 floors.
So basically, that's okay. So basically, it's like what we say with in the Innovator Academy, that you have to embrace or ring the bell when you fail. We have to embrace failure.
Yeah,
We have to ring the bell so we can celebrate failure, and then later on we can learn from them, and
Yeah.
then we celebrate once we hit the success, right? So
absolutely.
that's what we do, Eric. So you have to join. You have
Join.
to join. I will recommend you.
Yeah,
Well, what happened to
that's
what
funny.
happened to Seti? Anyway,
Who knows?
we will wait for the announcement of Google. When is the next cohort or for 2020? So it will be announced maybe December or January, and hopefully you can join one of the innovator group
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
meet a
just
lot of
yeah, I feel like I'm moving in the ed tech direction right now. It's like I get so overwhelmed with classes, but I definitely am looking forward to that, to being in some cohort like next school year. Then I'm thinking I'll be more ed tech focused, and so so maybe be able to because tell me what actually is required to be an
Well,
innovator.
what happens is I will nominate you.
Gotcha. Yeah. Except that Gary said somebody's gonna nominate me. Yeah.
Okay.
See, but Gary didn't even tell me
thought you
how I
forgot.
nominate people. Gary
Uh-huh.
didn't even tell me how I nominate people.
Gotcha. Okay. So
He's
so
keeping
like
it. He's keeping it on the reps.
Mhm.
Educator level 1, level 2. They need
Yeah.
to be up to date.
Yeah.
And then you record a 1-minute video to explain a big problem you would like to tackle.
Okay.
We're not
Challenge,
looking
not a
for
problem.
solutions.
Challenge.
Yeah, we're looking for a challenge or a problem, but
Challenge.
we're not looking for a solution.
Uh-huh. So you just illustrate the problem, but during the process of being an innovator.
It's something that you see in education. That's a challenge. So it's a how might we statement, but you're not looking for a solution. That's going to happen at the academy.
Okay, gotcha.
Am I correct, Gary?
Because most of the time we are focused on the solution, finding the solution to solve the problem, but it's the process which is more important than finding the solution itself.
Gotcha. Okay.
Moonshot thinking.
Yeah. So what does the academy
Yes.
entail? Like what how does the academy work?
You
Okay, so it's a full 3 days.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
Go ahead, Seti. Go ahead. Go
No,
share
I'll
your
let you. My experience
okay.
was I've been wanting to apply for a long time, and so but I always waited because obviously, the cohort first of all, the travel distance, so it never really quite worked out. So I focused really on building my own, like I'm doing a lot of professional development myself, and just growing my own understanding and my reach and doing lots of training, and I really love that. I love training. I mean, you'll see in the chat, I mean, there's other innovators from my cohort, and I mean, I miss these people. They're amazing. What happens at the cohort is sort of you all get together and you're put through this rigid, stressful yet great fun experience of just 3 days that you're all tackling your challenges, and everyone is trying to tackle their challenge, and you're coming up with hundreds of solutions, and you throw away 99 of those solutions. And it's the entire design thinking cycle, and it's an amazing experience. Like, you don't have to be a trainer to do it, and you don't have to be sort of in the ed tech like to do it. It's great to have that, but it's not a requirement. For as far as I'm aware, Gary, the only requirement is educator level 1 and 2, and then that you clearly
I agree.
state your challenge.
Yes, that's it.
Yes,
It's,
obviously
you mentioned
they're
it,
also-
Seti. It's
Obviously, they're looking for reach. Like, what's your online reach, and are you, Oh, thank you for that, Ruth. I did not realize that my camera was off.
Oh, I thought you did that on purpose.
No. I literally.
thought you, yeah.
I had no idea. It's like there's only audio. Oh, click.
I'm doing this on purpose.
Okay. But it's just been it's an amazing experience. And then once you start sharing online, because I'm all over, like, I mean, social media, I love sharing online. I'm all over YouTube and on Twitter and also. So I started sharing during the academy, and then you sort of have all this love from the other cohorts. Like, it's amazing. Like, do you remember that slide, Gary, that was put up, that there's 2,200? 2,200 innovators
from Aileen.
And that seems like it's a small group and it's a big group, but those people are incredibly active online. And so once you become part of one of those cohorts, suddenly you get this outpouring of ideas and support, and it's amazing. It's just I would highly recommend it to anyone. Like, I've done a lot of PD, but I can honestly say that this has probably been one of the most tiring ones because it's full on for 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's also been one of the best PD I've been on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Worth the stress. It's worth the stress.
I'm not. I'm
the
not
sacrifices,
announcing
the
my. I'm
sleepless
not
nights.
announcing my project yet. But what grew out of this academy has to do with coding. Gary
Gotcha.
knows, but I'm not announcing it yet. But
Oh,
there's coding involved.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like the idea what you just said, that
So
to have a big influence you don't need to be an expert to have a good influence on other people. And you
No,
said
you
that
learn
before,
together.
and that is what is very beautiful about the evolution or revolution in teaching or education in general, that the world becomes so fast paced and so quick lived, which is hard and emotionally bearing, but it also has the good byproduct that learning environments seem to change to a more open space than it used to be. Like, teacher knows more, shares the information. And what was also said before, I'm not sure if that fits in here, but I worked in IT before, and sadly, there are only two kinds of people, whether they share and happily share and are happy to share what they know, and some in IT, they think what they have gotten to know is their effort, and they won't share that. And
Yeah.
that is very hurtful to see. And I know that all of us are not that, and no innovator will ever think that way. So the innovator program, Eric and I are not part of that.
No, both of
Not
you need to
as
be
of yet.
nominated. But I'm
Yeah.
waiting for Gary. Gary up there. He needs to tell me how to nominate people. I can't.
Taylor Frapp.
Okay.
Mm.
So
I think you nominate them by getting into a stream and pointing at them, and then that's it. That's how it works. Yeah.
Gary, how do I nominate these two people?
Not really.
Not really. Yes.
we will get there, but it is I feel very well
Okay,
welcomed by
soon I'll give you the link.
Okay. I mean, it's a very, very tough choice for the people who decide who's allowed in. And
Well,
not.
It's. I love what Adriana is saying. She says Google should also tell people that there's work involved in the run-up, yes, and afterwards as well for a full year.
Wow.
It's not a one-off. It's not 3 days. Like you actually do. There's stuff you do before you go, and then when you go, you do all sorts of things, and then there's a mentorship program for a full year after the academy. So you're an innovator, but you're still working on your project.
Yes.
For a full year with a mentor.
What are you saying, Gary?
Becoming an innovator is not just attending the 3 days, the 3-day workshop. Becoming an innovator is not just attending the 3 days. It's an application process. Once your application is approved, you still have to work before. You have to do something before the academy day itself. And I think SETI experienced it a month or more than a month before the academy. They have to do something. They have to do interviews and other things. And after that, we still have to do other things out before and after the academy.
Yeah. So there's
that's the work of an innovator. You have to
there's a lot of learning involved, and I love it.
You don't have to be an expert, just like what you mentioned, because if you don't know everything, there are a lot of yes, and there's a lot of support that you can get from other innovators. And if they don't have the answer, just email them. Just email Google. How can I do this and that? And then they will look for an answer. There you go. Cool. So, thank you, Adriana, for the comment. Okay.
Ralph, I think your mic is off.
I wonder when Adriana will join us. I can't wait.
Okay. I think we are almost. So we have touch the benefits of giving coding to school. Adriana, maybe next time, next Thursday, on Thursday, right? She can join us. I'm waiting for one more, but she's okay. There's a problem with. I invited someone.
Okay.
It's Judy from Korea,
Yeah. I saw she
but
was
she's
trying to
having
get
a
in.
problem. But she's
Try,
having a
Judy.
problem.
If you're listening, Judy, try
So I don't
using
know
an
what's wrong with
try
the
using
connection
incognito.
or
Try
what's
using
her
incognito. It
technical
might help.
issues.
She is in the back room, she says.
Okay, brilliant. Let's get her in.
Yeah.
I quickly want to say that Gary, again, praise to you. You have been in charge for
Oh.
1 hour and 40 minutes.
I know.
Really?
He's
Okay. Yeah.
longest one so far.
Okay.
But
Very good,
great.
Judy.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Judy.
guys.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you made
Hi,
it.
Judy. Let's
I
welcome
just did
Judy.
the save it up. So went to
The
the parking
first
lot.
female to join the Thursday.
So good to see you
Okay,
guys.
you're still on the
And
road.
some of
That's
you, very
okay.
nice meeting you.
How have you
So
been?
Judy
How are
is
you doing?
actually,
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
I think she's
How
still parking.
How have you been? You've been keeping busy, haven't you?
Well, just to try to focus on
Yeah,
my
very big.
innovative project. At the same time, there are a lot of actually the schools and teachers been waiting for me to come back and then share what I experienced in Singapore and also Geo for Good. So that's why I've been just here and there sharing all the experience I had, and especially with you, Sethi, and also Gary. One of the best time I ever had in my entire life. That Innovators Academy was the best time.
There you go. There you go,
Oh.
Ralph, Eric.
Yeah.
Same.
And then Sethi, do you remember
By the
the
way,
karaoke
Judy,
we
meet
had?
Eric. Eric is also
I think Ralph might remember the karaoke van
Probably
because
do.
because I called him from inside the van.
But not only just the fun part, but
Okay, Judy,
it was
meet
very
Eric.
intensive.
Eric, meet Judy. You're both from Korea.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Judy. Gary's
God.
on like a 5-second delay, so that it's a little hard.
So
Yeah.
Eric and
yeah.
Judy, you have never met?
We never
Right.
met.
I
Eric,
think
nice
we
meeting
might.
you.
Yeah. I don't know if you use Twitter. I might have seen you on Twitter. I'm not sure.
Probably, because
Yeah.
I try to actually. I know that Sethi, he's been doing a lot of advocating, he's been helping a lot of schools here in Korea too, and also back there. And then I know, like, if I just to become friend with Sethi, probably I just kind of like tweet a lot of friends of his. So
Yeah.
probably yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's amazing to have you on the stream. Honestly, like,
Oh.
welcome.
I
You're
could have prepared
welcome.
something,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry. I've been telling
first
like
female.
teachers in Korea about the coding, and then they wanted to get in, but just as much as I had a hard time to get in, they couldn't get in. So I think
Yeah.
just a couple of them, they just got through and just left
Oh,
some comments. But
we're gonna have to. I think this is a topic we're gonna have to revisit because I know that there's a lot. Like James couldn't make it, David's couldn't make it.
Yeah.
They are super into coding as well, so they need to get on the stream with coding. So I think we need to have another one.
Part of
Definitely. Do you know? Maybe at
Part-
some point we should have a sort of a collaborative coding session where Ralph sits down, leads us through a bit of AppScript, and we all just join in and we code and we follow his lead.
I would love that. But
great.
Just a little,
Yeah,
just
sure.
a little code session, separate,
Great.
maybe on a different day or a little code jam.
apart
Because
from the
now
Thursday,
we're
Thursday.
talking about having some coding camp
Yes.
sometime in January next year, and we're gonna have the expert from Lego, but they're all K-12
Oh.
teachers.
Oh,
And then
wow.
they're not from corporate section, and then also robotics, and also community mapping. And so,
Wow, sounds like something I should attend.
so I have to catch up a lot of things, but what I learned from the Geo for Good in San Francisco, very useful, especially Google Earth Engine. They use a lot of like coding for visualizing the data. So That's also what I'm into these days. Very hard, but Sethi, I need your help.
Are you actually, Eric and Judy, you might meet up.
Okay.
Are you going to the apps events, both of you in
Yeah.
Incheon?
Yeah, Chadwick School.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yes, next month, right?
cool.
Yeah, so you'll definitely meet each other.
Yeah.
Like if you both go in.
Great.
So
Yeah.
you'll
I
meet
wish I
there.
could go there, but I'm happy that I'm able to talk to you guys online, and I can't travel at the
Oh.
moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, Judy, anything, I'm happy to help out, like any way I can. That's why we've got these things. It's all about sharing, right, Ralph?
It is amazing. Every Thursday now is a day where I can rejoice for learning something very, very useful. And yeah, it's amazing. Thank you, Eric, so much to have become a steady
Yeah,
group.
Yeah.
core
Thanks for
member
having
now.
me. Yeah.
Eric
Yeah.
is core member, special
Yeah.
guest first, core member
Yeah.
now.
It's kept
Judy,
on.
you're a
It's kept
special
on.
guest.
Yes.
We're looking for more core members. So
Honored to be part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
I mean,
Welcome.
right. Seeing as we're talking about coding, can I show something?
please,
Sure.
please do.
Right. This
Oh, wait.
is
Adrian
Gary's
is
gonna love
asking, what's the
Oh,
topic? next
Adriana?
meeting? Oh, what is that?
what is the topic? I'll join you.
Adrian's asking what
Gary, do
what's
you
the
have the
topic?
form?
I'll
Do
join
you have
you.
do
For
you have
next
the form?
meeting. Let me access it. Okay,
Because
go
we
ahead,
actually have
Sethi. What's your side?
I was gonna say a little preview, video coming soon on my channel. Ralph will already know what I'm gonna pull out of my hat now. Video coming soon. Been playing around with it. Honestly, it is an amazing, amazing robot. It is so cute. Here is our little robot, right? And here is our coding kit.
Yes, I like
I'm gonna get his head.
Sethi, how can I get that?
I will send you the links. I will send you the links. Here's our little robot. Look what happens when I pop his head on, right? This is so amazing. Look, I'm gonna pop his head on. How cute is that? How cute is that? I'm gonna get another one that's actually charged.
That would help, yeah.
You're gonna. That would definitely help. Right, fully magnetic. Kids, this is the actual. The servos are in here. This is the little head, fully magnetic. It pops on. Wakes up.
It flips.
He greets everyone. I've got a cute little robot.
Wow.
And then look at the tiles that you can use for your programming. They are amazing. Like, honestly, so well crafted. I'm actually really excited to share this. This is a forward tile. They all link together. It's like a hard
so it
plastic.
goes on the floor. You have to.
On the floor, it's a hard plastic. Look, it's got a little chip in there that actually sends the signals to your robot. You can program your robot. It runs over the code. Then you bring it over to the mat, and it executes your code. It is an amazing, amazing little robot. It's like I'm so excited about sharing this in one of my videos. I've actually got a range of different statements here. I'm just looking at the basic kit here, but you can see it's got like your loops, your functions, your repeat statements. It's got everything you need. This is your basic code. You've also got your advanced ones. So this is your coding plus. This is obviously a little bit more detailed, but I mean, look at the statements that you can use with your students. It is just, it's colorful, it's fresh, it is such an incredibly well-designed tool. It's actually by a company in Denmark. So we know Denmark, like, quality. Like, they're not going to send you some cheap plastic. Like, there's some proper design behind this. So I'm super excited about sharing this on the channel. But yeah, this is a little glimpse at what's coming soon. But a very, very, very cool little robot that you can use. Kubo. So you can find it kubo.education.
Mhm.
So even their name has education in it. Come on.
Okay.
Safi, are you familiar with the
So,
term? Like,
for what
you know,
is
there's
that?
another company in Korea called Ojobot. It's
Which
not
one?
really.
Ojobot?
It's called Ojobot. Ojo plus
Ojobot.
robot, so it's called the Ojobot. So
Ah.
they have
No.
the same kit. The kits can actually assemble like the robot, and then they have those kind of like a cue cards, and then they get
Yeah.
actually linked with the code.
Send me a link,
And-
like on Twitter or something. Like link
Mhm.
me up, and I will happily check it out because I'm actually. Quick little sneak peek. If anyone made it to the 1 hour and 50-minute mark, they will find out now. But I'm actually recording a series of videos
Mhm.
with a different programmable robot every week for a whole, like just a whole couple, like every other day, a new video will go up with another robot. So yeah, it's exciting. So I will definitely check that out if you link us up. Thank you for that.
There are two gentlemen like in my team. They're all like elementary school teachers, but they are coding genius, and then they actually use a 3D printer, make a robot. They try to just to make like some affordable kind of a kit for students. So I want to invite them over to this talk, but they just said, Judy, like a language barrier. I don't speak English well, but probably you would love to talk to them. They will
That's one of the things I think Eric and Gary and Ralph will confirm this. I'm happy to talk to anyone. Like honestly, I will listen to your ideas. I will listen to anything. Like I think my problem is that I sometimes don't stop talking. So
Well, we could.
but you are such a good
here.
listener too. I know that.
I guarantee you, Judy, I guarantee you, Seti has a long patience, and he has his own style of understanding the language problem.
I
Right?
know. So I try to convince this group, and there are a lot of talented teachers in this group, but they're kind of like afraid of speaking up. But I know Seti. I mean, he's been teaching international, the school teachers. But I just want to be a gateway to actually link the teachers here in Korea and also overseas, so we can actually conduct some, cross-cultural project together. Because coding is a language. We don't really need to just to speak. The first language shouldn't be English or Korean. But so I think that's a lot of people are a little bit skeptical about coding. But in my point of view, coding is kind of language. Language is for communication. Communication is collaboration. So that is also innovation. So I just really want
Coding
that.
is a universal language. I think we can definitely bridge language gaps when we see the magic somebody produces in code. Yeah.
I'm in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So no, that sounds really exciting.
Can I say something just to those two gentlemen? Look, Hyung-wook, see, we have a very, very open-minded expert and also educators ready to listen to you. Don't be afraid. Hyung-wook, Inchal, listen to me. You can join us next time, okay? Yeah.
How do we say please join us in Korean? That's their native language. How do we say that?
Also, say
Oh, you can say, 어서 오세요 is good.
Okay, so what are their
어서
names?
오세요. Or we can say, 환영합니다.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome. Yes.
감사합니다. 어서 오세요.
Wow.
That being said, I need to get someone else on this stream because I was recently put in touch by Rob with a group of amazing engineers and teachers in Korea who are currently developing another programmable robot. It's a Kamibot. I don't know if you heard of it.
Of course, I know Kamibot. Yes, I
There
do.
you go. It looks, I honestly, if you don't follow it on Twitter, go and find out about Kamibot. Tell them I send you.
Okay, I will.
But it is, it looks very promising. Very promising. It's still early days because I had a quick meeting and chat with one of the developers, and it's early days. I think they're sort of aiming for a February, March release, or I'm not sure what it was.
or overseas?
I think overseas. I think the Korean market will be slightly sooner because it's
Later.
already. It says here that it's on Kickstarter, it's on Amazon. So I think they're aiming for like a delivery that's coming soon. But what's amazing about it is that it's not just the robot. They're approaching it differently because they combine it with paper crafts. So you get these crafts that you can build out of paper, and they slide over the robot, and it's an entirely different experience. And so you've got different types of crafts that you can slide over the robot. You've got like these rotating things, and you can put pencil in it. It looks, I want to get my hands on one. It looks amazing. It's just, all I can say is, the people that developed that, brilliant. And then locally as well, I mean, here in Thailand, we've got a guy who developed the MojoBot. My goodness, I mean, Ralph's played with it.
Initially, I thought you had that in your hand, but it was.
I've got the MojoBots as well, but they're down the floor, so I'd have to go down the floor. They're also in my lineup. The MojoBot is so appealing. It's just the MojoBot is like a robot that's got feelings. Like, it's weird. Like, you put your hand in front of it and it'll go like, oh no. it's like
Nice.
it's just kids love it. Kids, I mean, I think we could have a full hour session just about robots. Like, it's just about those. But so yeah, the MojoBot again, and it's a local developers, it's local engineers. So that this was obviously this was someone from here locally in Thailand. KamiBot.
He studied engineering or computer science in one of the.
Yeah, he's an engineer. He's an engineer in computer science. So basically, he doesn't come from the educational field. So he looked at it from a completely different. Like, it was actually prototyped with Arduino. So it's based on Arduino. And then it moved into full scale production. Brilliant little machine. But then when I saw the KamiBot, that how they approached, like how they mix the paper craft with the robot, and it's a Korean product, isn't it? It's it's a Korean company. Let me just create. Yeah, it's a team of engineers and artists that got together and build it. So they're based in Daegu.
They're based in Daegu, but they're actually they have a brain center. It's called like Brain Center, so research center, which is only half an hour from my house. So
oh wow,
I just went to a showcase with a couple of teachers. So, but they said it's gonna take a while to actually just purchase it in market. But
because they had a trial at Rob's school where they filmed a couple of demos. But I think they want to get their product perfect before releasing it, and I respect that.
Sure.
A moment, I don't deserve.
But there are a lot of startup companies. They want to actually, release some of the because those companies are kind of like not really specialized the codings or robots, but they want to work closely with the teachers. Yeah. So before they release it to the market, they want to just invite teachers over. Or maybe I can send you some kind of like a samples, and then send them the feedback, and then not really perfect, but they just want us to just to tell them how those kind of kits or the ideas can be used by educators.
That's how it should be. Like, I mean, their target is the educational market, so why not involve your teachers? It's like like Eric, what you developed, like you had the educator first. You knew. And this is the whole design cycle, isn't it, Gary? Part of the Innovator Academy is that we have to interview someone who will be affected by our problem or our challenge. The reason we interview them is because of that empathizing. We need to understand our end user before we can tackle the actual problem. Yeah. So Eric knew that end user because he was the end user.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I just did what I would love, and
then KamiBot is doing the same. They're reaching out to teachers and educators, and because that will be their end user. So they're trying to understand what do they need and what do they want, and how can we give them the best possible product. That's a recipe for success. I mean, no matter how you look at it, if you keep your end user in mind, then that's a recipe for success.
Because some of the major companies, they have a user experience, the research team, or they have a budget to invite, the users and have big showcases. But a lot of small companies, they cannot really just afford this kind of a big event. So maybe we can just help them to create something better, and then better to fit in education circumstances. So maybe we can just help them. We can empower them, right?
Hey, get them on one of our streams. Let's invite them as a special guest. Let's get as many of these people on board. Let's invite some, some people from Lego, some people from Kamibot, some people from MojoBot, some people, and just speak to them and just have them come on. Just share their journey, because I think it's not only good for teachers to hear that, but for students as well. If they hear, like, one of the most inspiring things I did this year with, I think inspired my students to really get into Arduino, some of my older students, was when I showed them the pictures of the MojoBot, the original prototype, because he shared everything on his website. And so when I showed them his original prototype, they looked at it and they said, "What? Is that what it looked like? But that's ugly." And I say, yeah, it's a prototype. It's a proof of concept. I think sometimes they totally forget that everything is a journey. So yeah, showing them that, it really motivated them to start prototyping with Arduinos and really try to dive in. So that was really great to see that. When was your most viable, sort of the minimum viable product for you, Eric? When did you sort of decide this is ready to come out?
Yeah, the thing is, I had a minimum viable product like 2.5 years ago, but I'm just psychologically, I'm more like, oh, but if I do this, then it'll be better, and I kind of want this, and it's not there yet, so I just ran over like a million minimum viable. I was way past the minimum before I ever showed it to anybody. It was still not perfect when I showed it at the Demo Slam, where I first put it out at the Google Summit. Another one at Chadwick.
Goodness, it looked way past the minimum viable product.
Oh my gosh, it was. Yes, it was way past. That's the point. I should have put it out a million years ago.
That was full on. I mean, I know you said, we're giving beta access. I was like, this is past beta, mate. This is.
Yeah. So I had a year of beta and then put it out.
You have to admit that you learned a lot by doing this, and you have caused so many awe-inspiring moments of the teachers who used it for the first time.
Yeah, and a lot of people enjoy it.
I hope that you follow your instincts.
Have you made the big announcement on here yet?
Oh, Eric? That's true. I haven't. Yeah. So actually, Sethi and I had this idea. It was Sethi's idea, and it was a good one to share Classwork Zoom with all Google trainers. So basically, anybody who can verify the Google trainer status, free access, lifetime access to Classwork Zoom.
Lifetime access to Classwork Zoom for every Google trainer.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah, people are tweeting. People are joining up.
Hats off to you, Eric.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's been a good month. Like Book Creator, free lifetime upgrade. Pear Deck, free year-long upgrade.
There was somebody else too.
Classwork Zoom.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a good time.
Okay.
Google certified trainer.
Brilliant. So yeah.
Okay.
Wow, Gary, you are amazing. You've made it 2 hours.
Yes. So we have reached more than 2 hours, and we cannot keep this for a long time because others might have other things to do. So thank you so much for tuning in, and again, we love to get your comments and questions that you have. Just post it on the comments box, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We have a lot of ideas. We have other core members who are not yet here and so excited. We'll have a part 2 of this.
Who's moderating and leading next week?
Oh,
Eric, are you ready for it?
Is it my turn? I guess I'm the only person around who hasn't moderated.
Yes,
everyone points.
Well,
yes.
I was thinking about a topic of technophobia.
Okay, there you go.
What do you think?
Technophobia.
I love it. Love it.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Next week.
This is where you go in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, technophobia.
Yeah.
I'm in my box.
Oh my
So-
gosh! Snapshot. Nice one, Ralph.
Okay.
let's do it.
Thank you for tuning in
Technophobia.
I
again.
applaud
And
you. Your stamina is
this
awesome.
is our. So this is our 4th episode of the Thursday night. Goodbye.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you very much for watching.